The human mind is one of the greatest battlegrounds of the 21st century. On one side, there are endless notifications, infinite scrolling, and fragmented attention. On the other side, an organ that operates according to its own biological rhythms, the brain. Modern life expects us to be always on, but the architecture of the brain says something very different. Use it correctly and you unlock extraordinary capacity. Use it poorly and you face chronic fatigue and mental fog. Science shows one thing clearly. Mental performance is not a coincidence. It is the outcome of repeated habits. When these habits align with the brain's natural cycles, attention, memory, creativity, and emotional balance all become noticeably stronger. When they don't, we end up with a mind that feels drained, yet somehow stuck, unable to move forward. We're reconstructing the most common habits used to enhance brain power. This is not a character story. Think of it as a guide to understanding the brain's own laws. And to understand those laws, you first need to know the brain's hidden 90-minute rhythm. The brain's ultradian rhythm, cycles of 90 to 120 minutes. The first step is understanding how the brain perceives time. Research shows that throughout the day, we experience 90 to 120-minute ultradian cycles, waves of rising and falling alertness, performance, and mood. This aligns with what sleep researcher Nathaniel Kleitman called the basic rest activity cycle, which repeats every 90 to 100 minutes even when we are awake. What does this mean? The brain was not designed to maintain constant focus. There is a natural rise in mental energy for about an hour, followed by a decline. If you push through the low phase and say, "I need to keep going," performance drops, mistakes increase, and mental fatigue builds. But when tasks are aligned with this rhythm, everything changes. 90-minute deep focus blocks followed by short, genuinely restorative breaks. High-performance coaching, shift scheduling systems, and productivity research all recommend the 90 minutes of focus plus 10 to 20 minutes of rest model because it aligns with these natural biological cycles. The key here isn't just tracking time, it's eliminating distractions and telling the brain, right now, this is the only task. Why breaks should be walks, not screens. What should you do during breaks? Not aimless social media browsing or another cup of coffee. What opens the brain's deeper processing capacity is often a simple walk. Neuroscience shows that the brain's default mode network DMN becomes active when we're not focused on the outside world, when we stroll, daydream, or stare out the window. This network handles internal dialogue, recalling the past, imagining the future, and forming creative connections. Recent studies show that walking in nature especially improves mood, boosts executive attention, and raises creativity. A 20 to 30-minute walk in a park, along the beach, or among trees increases blood flow to the brain, reduces stress physiology, and reorganizes the DMN in favor of problem-solving and creative thinking. A short walk after a 90-minute focus block isn't lost time. It's a crucial phase where the brain recombines and reorganizes information in the background. The brain's fuel. What you eat and how you eat. About 60% of the brain is made of fat, and omega-3 fatty acids are especially important for the membranes of nerve cells. Reviews and randomized controlled trials suggest that omega-3 South may support cognitive function, particularly in older adults, those with mild cognitive impairment, or individuals with cardiovascular issues. But results vary based on dosage, age, genetics, and lifestyle. Foods like salmon, walnuts, flax and chia seeds, blueberries, and high cacao dark chocolate appear consistently in brain-healthy dietary patterns because of their omega-3, antioxidant, and blood flow-enhancing properties. But the real secret isn't only what you eat, it's how you eat. Meals eaten while staring at a screen, rushing or replying to emails disrupt digestion, elevate stress hormones, and make fullness signals harder to detect. Taking a moment to respect the meal, putting your phone away, breathing deeply, and paying attention supports digestion and maintains mental clarity for the rest of the day. Digital dopamine, the economics of notifications. Every notification, sound, or red badge triggers a tiny dopamine spike in the brain's reward circuit. This system is essential for learning, motivation, and goal-directed behavior. But too many shallow, rapid-fire rewards train the brain to chase short-term pleasure instead of deep work. Studies increasingly link frequent phone and social media use to distractibility, procrastination, and lower subjective productivity. The direction of causality can vary. Some people may turn to screens because they feel unfocused, but the practical outcome is the same. A chaotic notification environment destroys 90-minute focus blocks. That's why creating digital fasting zones matters. Turning off notifications, leaving the phone in another room during deep work, and limiting message checking to set times. This helps the brain associate reward not with quick hits of stimulation but with genuine progress. Curiosity. The brain's natural reward system. Curiosity isn't just a childhood impulse. The brain's reward circuits light up when you encounter an intriguing question or a topic you genuinely want to understand. Experiments show that curiosity boosts learning, increases motivation, and improves memory even for unrelated information presented at the same time. Asking yourself small unanswered questions throughout the day. How does memory work? What is the origin of money? Why do cats purr? Keeps the mind agile. This is mental training through inquiry, not memorization. Movement, BDNF and neuroplasticity. The brain is not separate from the body. Physical exercise, especially regular aerobic activity, and certain forms of strength training raises levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, often called the brain's growth fertilizer. BDNF supports neuron survival, new connections, and learning. Recent research shows that not only cardio but also resistance training significantly increases BDNF levels, offering protective effects on cognition. Consistency matters more than perfection. Daily 30 to 40-minute brisk walks, a few simple bodyweight exercises a few times a week, and stretching or light mobility work can permanently shift brain chemistry. Cold exposure, short stress for alertness, cold showers and cold water immersion have become popular tools for mental alertness. Research is still emerging, but short, controlled cold exposure may increase norepinephrine and dopamine, improving alertness, attention, and mood. However, two important cautions. Research is early and often based on small samples. Results can't be universally applied. Sudden cold exposure can be risky for people with cardiovascular or circulatory problems. A safer approach is ending a warm shower with a brief cold burst and slowly increasing duration. Cold exposure is a form of controlled microstress that can strengthen stress resilience, but it should be a complement, not a foundation. Sunlight and circadian rhythm. The brain's real clock is not the one on your wrist, it's light. Morning sunlight entering the eyes signals the brain's circadian clock that the day has begun. This suppresses melatonin, boosts wakefulness, and sets you up for a more stable mood. Conversely, bright or blue-heavy light at night suppresses melatonin, making sleep harder and harming long-term sleep quality, emotional health, and metabolism. That 10 to 20 minutes of morning sunlight even on cloudy days and reducing screen brightness at night are among the simplest and most powerful ways to protect the brain's biological rhythm. Sleep and power naps. The brain's night shift sleep is not turning off. It is one of the brain's busiest periods. Memory consolidation, toxin clearance, emotional processing all happen during deep and REM sleep. Poor or inconsistent sleep damages both cognition and emotional balance. Short daytime naps can help when used properly. Meta-analyses show that 20 to 30-minute naps boost attention, executive function, and certain forms of memory. Longer or late naps can disrupt nighttime sleep. The principle is simple. 7 to 9 hours of high-quality sleep is the main pillar. Short naps are supplemental. Mental offloading and the one-question journal. The brain is not meant to store tasks. Unfinished responsibilities create low-level anxiety and drain energy. The Zeigarnik effect explains why. The brain keeps an open tab on incomplete tasks. Writing everything down, errands, worries, ideas, reminders before bed signals to the brain that the tasks are recorded, allowing the mind to relax. A more advanced version is writing down one unresolved question each night, whether it's a decision, a creative block, or something you're trying to figure out. This primes the brain to work on it subconsciously during sleep. Many breakthroughs appearing in the shower or during a walk are the result of this background processing. Quiet mornings, the space between stimulus and response. Regular attention exercises and mindfulness training are widely shown to create measurable changes in the brain. Even an 8-week mindfulness program can increase cortical thickness in regions tied to attention and emotional regulation while reducing amygdala reactivity. This means that 5 to 10 minutes of focusing gently on the breath or bodily sensations and observing thoughts without reacting gradually creates a tiny gap between stimulus and automatic response. That gap is where cognitive control and strategic thinking live. Likewise, spending the first few minutes of the morning in silence before messages, before conversation helps the prefrontal cortex come online calmly and clearly. Social connection and oxytocin. The brain was not designed to operate alone. Social interaction is not a luxury, it is a biological requirement. Oxytocin, released during genuine connection, helps regulate cortisol, reduces social threat perception, and strengthens the feeling of safety. Face-to-face conversations, a meaningful walk with someone, or simply listening with full presence remind the brain that the world is not just noise, it's support. This enhances cognitive flexibility and emotional resilience. Practicing gratitude each night. Writing down 3 things you're thankful for may sound simple, but studies show it can reduce stress markers, improve sleep, and boost overall well-being. It trains the brain to scan for what's working instead of what's missing. Similarly, asking yourself, what did I do today that moved me forward, even a little, shifts the mind from perfectionism to progress. It teaches the brain to associate effort, not external rewards, with satisfaction. The final picture, a system, not a shortcut. Each habit needed focus blocks, walking in nature, mindful eating, digital fasting, curiosity-driven learning, movement and BDNF, cold exposure, sunlight, quality sleep, mental offloading, social connection, and gratitude is not a miracle on its own. The power comes from aligning them as a system that works with the brain's biology, not against it. Science tells us that mental capacity is not a fixed trait. It is a dynamic process shaped by rhythm, environment, and habit. Small but consistent changes can reshape brain chemistry, structure, and performance over the years. That's why boosting brain power might sound like a big project, but the first steps are surprisingly simple. Plan one 90-minute focus block today. Take one short walk, dim the lights tonight. If you stay consistent, your brain is ready to do the rest.